We're going to be getting into the Batman. So we're going to be doing a more spoiler discussion of the Batman, in-depth discussion of that.
All right. Hang on.
Oh, got you in the mood, like, man. Yeah.
Guys.
So we're going to be discussing this and just sequel ideas, where we think it's going to potentially go, what we kind of would want to see.
Because I don't think we actually gave our
on here.
I don't think we actually gave our rating on it. I think the stream kind of cut out before we could actually like give our final thoughts and our rating of the film.
Okay, so I'm going to go around, everybody give their general thoughts on the movie, kind of sum it up, and then give a rating. All right, so Marley, kind of over you. There you go.
Oh, I love the Batman. I've seen it. I've seen it again since we did the stream that failed. But yeah, it's this Pattinson. I'm all in. I'm all in on Robert Pattinson as Batman. The Pattinson and Paul Dano was super great as the Riddler, and I love just the way this movie is shot too. And I don't think I actually mentioned it on the first stream, but that was such a unique car chase action sequence because it was shot entirely in close-ups. Like knowing that, I'm just like, I commend Matt Reeves and his cinematographer for like shooting an action sequence all in close-ups and just like using like the mirrors of the car to show the action. I'm like, that's just really great. So I give it just the highest tune-in possible.
Dusk?
The Batman is almost more of a mood than it is a movie, and there's no detriment to the movie in any manner. It is able to capture a very interesting atmosphere of a very moody. It reminded me a lot of The Crow from the 90s. Very grunge, dark, a bit gothic, and it sets a mood of a very downpour and a very tragic Gotham. For that alone, I think that's something worth seeing. Gotham as a character is often a missed opportunity, but this one does it in spades. Almost a little too much where Batman and Bruce Wayne are not necessarily characters, they're vehicles to tell a more corrupt story in the story of Gotham. But those things aside, technically speaking, soundtrack, music, costume design, I think they're all very good. Overall, I think and whatever small gripes someone might have or personally what they liked about this version of Batman, otherwise, I think for the technical schemes of it and for the type of style this movie's going for, I think this is a solid movie. And this is definitely a low tune-in. It's definitely a low tune-in because there are some things I would have liked to have seen, but that's not so much to push it down to a streaming. I think if you'll catch it in a movie, you will enjoy yourself. And ultimately, that is what a tune-in is. Whether or not you see it at home or you get off your butt and go see it in the movie. And I think if you went and saw this in the movie theaters, I don't think, and you're a Batman fan, I don't think you'd be too dissatisfied. You might have your gripes, but I think you'd like some things in it that would be worthwhile to see in the theaters.
Nick?
So if I had to give Batman it fucks. This movie is fucking incredible. I think Pattinson might be the definitive version of the character that I grew up reading comics like The Long Halloween, like Ego, like even bits of Hush. I think he captures that perfectly as this younger, greener, still kind of figuring things out with Batman. I think the mood of the city, Gotham feels like a literal shithole. And of all the like complaints online is like, yeah, if Bruce Wayne really wanted to help Gotham, he'd donate money. And they make Gotham look like such a shithole that having a masked vigilante beat up poor people seems like a good option. I think it has one of the best supporting casts of a lot. I love Jeffrey Wright as Lieutenant Gordon in this. Andy Serkis, even though I think he is a little bit underused, the scenes with him and Pattinson are incredible showcases of their skill. Zoe Kravitz is my favorite live action Catwoman, and Paul Dano's Riddler. He might be one of the scariest live action comic villains in a long time.
Nice.
And not to mention the cinematography, chef's kiss. The score by Michael Giacchino, incredible.
Hunter, got your thoughts?
All right, so let's start with a hot take right out the gate. Paul Dano's Riddler is as good as Ledger's Joker. I think Dano's incredible. The opening shot of him, I was mid-bite of popcorn. I was like, shit! Oh my god, damn!
Yeah, that scared the shit out of me. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like that. And the thing is, like, this movie is violent, but it's able to, like, avoid an R rating, but it still feels about as close to rated R as you can get without being rated R, which is, like, a very impressive line to walk.
It's like they showed the cut of the R-rated version of this movie, and the executives at Warner Brothers are just like, "What are you showing me? Come on!"
Right. And by the way, don't take your kid. I saw so many people taking their kids who
Don't
are 7.
take kids.
Like, look, parents.
This is not a fucking family superhero movie. This is a dark, gritty, bordering on like prime David Fincher serial killer story, hard-boiled detective.
Movies
This
have
is not
ratings
Spider-Man No Way Home.
Movies have ratings for a fucking reason, okay? Like, for fuck's sake. Take the 2 minutes to Google why it's rated like this. But Dano's absolutely incredible. I got a mountain of shit about 18 months ago, maybe 2 years, whenever they announced this project, what is time anymore. But because I said that I thought that Pattinson would be the best combo live action of Bruce Wayne and Batman. And the big thing is, like, it's always one or the other. Like, you get someone like Kilmer, who I actually thought was, like, a good Batman for giving the material, but as Bruce Wayne's kind of like whatever, and like it's always kind of that balancing act. And I think for Pattinson, and a lot of the tropes are kind of avoided because you have a younger Batman, you have a year 2 Batman, so him not having this public persona yet actually makes sense given the trauma that he's still going through. So that's actually a pitfall they're able to avoid just by having the story that they lay out. When he sees that kid that they reference in the funeral, whose dad gets killed, the fact that he just looks at him and says so much with a look without actually needing to speak dialogue, it's moments like that where you just go, God damn, Pattinson just kind of gets this shit. And the whole trap, like the actual riddles themselves, as they go on, and they just get more and more, like, subtle in the best way, because you just feel the Riddler's anger where he's like, God damn it, I hate the Wayne so fucking much. And you're just like, so by the time it gets to his end game, you're like, oh man, you just said fuck being clever. I'm just gonna fucking destroy Gotham within like
and this is and I think, well, Matt Reeves, Robert Pattinson, Paul Dano, they are outspoken super fans of Batman. They've read the comics. They know exactly what they're pulling from. There's a lot of The Long Halloween in this. There's a lot of Darwin Cook's Ego. There's a lot of Batman Noel. And shockingly, a lot of Scott Snyder's 0 Year.
that was probably the influence that you see the most. I was the most surprised by. I was like, oh, okay. And it works here. By the way, Paul Dano is writing Riddler Year 1. Can't wait for that shit.
I was just gonna mention that.
Yeah,
like, that has me so excited.
I'm so hyped for that shit. But it's one of those things where hearing someone say Bruce Wayne has never sounded more terrifying. It's like, holy shit! Like when he stop that.
It's played so cat and mousey. It's like you have an idea. It's like, does this guy know? Does he know that that Bruce Wayne is the Batman. And that's something that the trailers hint a lot at. And and you can see it in Pattinson's performance as Batman. It's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, and as the movie, like, as far as where the movie ends up, the thing that always, and I've talked to Nick about this at length off mic, the thing that bothers the fuck out of me about the end of The Dark Knight is how Gotham just goes, oh, you know that clown who killed the reporter? Well, fuck him. Batman did everything. It's like, but what about the fucking clown? Shut up. And it's like, no, God fucking damn it. And so in this movie, Gotham reacts in the exact way they should when you hear, oh shit, the town's flooding. They don't go, oh, let's blame Batman. It's like, oh fuck, let's run for our lives. Like, Gotham's not treated like isn't treated in a stupid way in this movie.
Gotham is treated like a real functioning city, more so than I think any other director in live action has done. The city feels alive. It feels like it's doing its own thing outside of what Batman and Gordon and the Riddler are doing.
It feels like its own character in the same way that that New York feels like a character in Taking Pelham 1, 2, 3 without the parody. Like that's essentially what it felt like for me. And so when you get to the end of the movie, we have, a more quote prime Gotham that's being literally rebuilt because the Riddler kind of wins actually, which is funny when you think about it. Not haha funny, but but he kind of wins. But then you actually get to see Batman be something that the Nolan films I felt like kind of alluded to, being that light for Gotham. But you get an actual literal scene of Pattinson actually helping people as Batman, which we don't really see nearly enough.
Pattinson's Bat is more alive than any of Zack Snyder's heroes.
Yeah, you're not wrong, because I covered the bus like in Man of Steel. So it's like, but it's one of those things. Like, I mean, just real quick, Farrell is amazing as a Cobblepot. It's a great origin for the Penguin. I can't wait to see where his show goes. Kravitz is fucking incredible, nails it. Look up those photos she took. Oh my god.
For research.
Yeah, exactly. Gordon, I felt so bad for Commissioner Gordon in this in a way that I haven't since the animated series, because just seeing all of his friends be corrupt and just him having to deal with the gravity of that in the moment actually really adds some levity to the movie, where you just go, God damn, dude, you're kind of just going through the ringer and you just want to do the right thing, which, oh my god, a cop wanting to just do the right thing, shocker. And it's it's actually nice to see Gordon have to wrestle with that as the film goes on. And that punch Pattinson gives him in the police station, that's a shot. like dropped him like a bad habit. I was like, god damn,
could have at least pulled that punch, man.
Yeah, and that escape from the police station is so fucking badass.
It's incredible. It's so tense. It's a situation that we don't see Batman in live action, at least, where the cops are not on his side at all. And in like that little like beat where Batman gets up to the roof and he's like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, so last thing I'll say, it's my second favorite Batman film ever, because I still do believe Mask of the Phantasm is the best Batman film start to finish, but this is horribly close. Like, it's so fucking close. I might change my mind on a rewatch, but as hard as I am on DC, because a lot of their stuff involves Snyder, this is a triumph for DC. Like, this is one of those things I was like, god damn, like, Peacemaker set the table, and then the Batman's like, oh yeah, we got more for you. And it's like, yes, more of this. Yeah, it's a great fucking film.
Oh, hey, thank you, Chill.
Snyder really...
Thank you, Chill, for the 45 bits, man.
Is Snyder really in control of the DCEU now? Because as far as I know, from what I see from the outside, it's Gunn and Reeves.
Dude, DC isn't in control of the DCEU.
True. They're just like, hey, we have these franchises, filmmakers go wild. So.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So I mean, with the Batman, I love the look of Gotham when Matt Reeves he came in and did the look. Like I said in the first stream we did, he almost does a better. He does what Tim Burton tried to do with Gotham, but better. This gothic kind of look at this city, this kind of
Yeah, that's
rundown
fair.
type of city, and then even with Wayne Manor, I mentioned in there, it's like a Castlevania Dracula style mansion that he kind of lives in there. That you kind of see there.
And you're telling me that this guy isn't a vampire?
Yeah, I mean, you
Right,
gotta, the way he
right.
just, winces at the sun when he comes up from his little cave, and you know what I mean, things like that. Puts on the glasses, and then the whole cast. I mean, everybody's perfectly casted all the way. Not just Batman, Robert Pattinson, I think, but you said as Jeffrey Wright as Lieutenant Gordon, Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, who I think is the best live action Catwoman. You do have,
Yep.
Colin Farrell, who's unrecognizable as Oswald Cobblepot, as the Penguin. You do have John Turturro, who plays Carmine Falcone. You do have,
Oh,
Andy.
he does a great job too.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
good.
do have Andy Serkis, who's this great Alfred. Yeah, I'm sorry. What was you gonna say?
Oh yeah, Totoro, he's so fucking incredible in this like
Slimy
small
as
role that
fuck.
he's in.
Ugh.
So yeah,
One
yeah. Oh yeah, go ahead.
One thing I would like to say about Paul Dano as Riddler is we knew that Paul Dano was in this film like with that first trailer. Which, by the way, I don't watch very many trailers, but I watched the first Batman trailer. Probably one of the best trailers I've ever seen. Like ever
Agreed.
for
Agreed.
a horror film.
Yeah,
But my point is that if Paul Dano wasn't in that trailer, and then that was the first shot that we saw of Paul Dano sitting in that diner, and we're just like, oh shit, it's Paul Dano. Like, I would have freaked out in the theater. I probably would have screamed just because like that would be such a cool reveal. So it was a little bit underwhelming, like knowing that Paul Dano was in this film, just because I don't know, because if I didn't know, because he's masked up pretty much the entire time, like that would have been such a cool reveal, like in the second act when that's revealed. But
yeah, I think it's kind of in the vein of something like Seven, where you get this guy, this killer that is doing a lot of this horrific shit, and then like close to the third act is when it's revealed he's just a normal kind of nebbish looking Redditor.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah, I
is
could
very
totally-
They made the supervillain just a guy on Reddit.
I could totally see like the Riddler just being like just having his own Reddit, like r slash the Riddler or something.
He kind of does. He's got like a fucking like a YouTube channel, and it's like the real villain. It's YouTubers with less than 500 subscribers.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
Paul
like,
Dano.
it's like it caught me so off guard when they did that whole. They figured out the password to his site, and it's just him in his normal voice, just like, "Hey guys, don't forget to like and subscribe."
so the thing that's crazy about that is that this, like, the Riddler, ironically enough, plays more terrifying in a post-Trump era, because you're just like, this is kind of how this shit starts. Like, the fact that it's so simple is actually kind of the tragedy behind it, because you're just like, because when he lays out why he hates the Waynes, you're kind of like, you're not wrong when you think, because I never actually thought of like the whole orphan aspect when he lays that out. It's like, fuck, okay, shit, all right, fair point. And even Pattinson kind of plays it where he kind of glances at the ground for like half a second to blink if he missed a thing. And even he kind of has that realization of, oh, fuck, I never thought about the fact that, oh, I still have all these resources, and you're, licking dirty sponges for food. Like, holy shit! like, oh, sorry, man. Like, it's really dark when you think about it, and it's amazing that it kind of breaks down to something that simple and that petty, because that's very much Edward in a nutshell. So which by the way, I love the fact that I actually used his like deep cut civilian name and didn't call him Edward Nigma. I was very happy they did that, because that's a subtle thing, but that adds more to the real world aspect of it. And it sets up for a hell of a sequel too, like where they could take it. Court of Owls seems obvious. Like, I feel like that's the thread that should be continued. I'm a little worried they'll delay that to the third film, but please do Court of Owls. Like, Can I get Court of Owls, please? Like,
I mean,
don't do
you have
Joker.
interviews with Pattinson and Dano just plugging the Court of Owls.
Yeah, like,
It's
they're fans.
two
They
kings
get it.
trying to. It's like, yeah, dude, Court of Owls is fucking good.
Yeah, and I'm like, yes, please do Court of
Did you
Owls
also-
because
Did you also mention there was like a nice little wink at Hush as a possible?
yes,
Yeah.
There was a quick
A
like
little
Hush.
bit.
I'm like,
Oh.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
also I know I'm the one off, and because I know everyone liked Ewan McGregor, and that's great. But I would also like in this kind of universe, they have a chance to also do like a really good Black Mask.
yeah.
That he has not been done justice really that well, aside from like
Yeah,
scanty
yeah.
appearances.
The possibilities for where this take on the character can go are kind of limitless. You could do villains like Black Mask.
This is like
the
a
Court of
power.
Owls, if
That's
you
a
want to
power
keep
vacuum
the-
now.
Mm.
And he takes that opportunity very much. He's all about being king of the underworld.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do that if you want to get more fantastic stuff like Mr. Freeze, like Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah.
I could see Professor Pig being terrifying.
Oh,
in
Jesus.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, you could do fucking Hugo Strange.
If Matt
Hugo Strange,
if Matt
definitely.
Matt Reeves is writing, I kind of want to see him do Condiment King.
Oh Lord.
Oh my god.
I think he's teased that actually, like Condiment King. I think he's teased it in like interviews, which I was just like,
Didn't
know what, just do it.
didn't Robert
That was
Pattinson say
Batman.
that Covenant King was his favorite Batman villain?
He did.
Yeah, he said Condiment King's my favorite villain.
Which is a deep cut because
He's
it's a
just
complete
so
joke.
silly.
Batman gets covered in relish. Looks like you're in great pickle, aren't you, Batman?
It's like I relish the opportunity, and then he just gets punched in the chest as he should.
Oh no,
And then it's
Guys-
just that
guys-
shot and then it's just that shot of Pattinson just beating down that one goon.
It was so cool to see Pattinson go. Say it with me, Nick. Batshit.
Okay, guys, I'm leaving. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You
You're
know,
gonna fly away.
Yeah, there's something in the way.
No, I'm driving away with my family.
you know, I've seen it 3 times now. Haven't seen
Damn. Go ahead.
it 3 times now. It's just that I mean, I think the car chase scene, even though I do like it, it is kind of hugely in this kind of realistic world that they're setting. It's very impractical, and then they're just letting, him kind of, just let him tied up, and says, like, I mean, you could bring him in for prison for that, car crash alone, but you know what I mean? Hey, but it was still an exciting car chase scene and everything like that. And then the whole situations. I think the riddles. How do you all think the riddles worked in the movie? Do you all think it made sense and all the stuff led very much to the next thing, or?
First off, Penguin is white. He'd be able to get away and not go to prison. He'd be just fine. So that's actually the most realistic thing about this movie.
I'm dead.
Not Lucius driving. Your tail lights out, Lucius. Call Mr. Wayne.
So what do you guys thinking about that as far as like the riddles and everything like that? Do you think that all made sense?
I think the riddles were like fit perfectly within this film, and
Same.
there's one riddle. It's actually at the end. I'm not sure if you guys have noticed this little Easter egg. Like, I remember seeing it at my first screening. Everyone's like, I hear everyone leaving the theater and saying there's no post credits sequence, but there actually is. If you stay all the way until the end.
Oh shit! I didn't.
There's a post credits sequence where
there's an internet that comes up, the URL.
There's a URL that pops up.
Yeah, it's URL Rata Alata.
Yeah,
it's like,
and it's basically
what? No habla español.
Right.
And that leads to
if
more
you go
to
to that, if you go to that URL, it's just more backstory on like the Riddler and just like news articles and stuff like that. And I'm like, after knowing that and like visiting like that website, that like I have to just give this film so much praise. Whether that was an afterthought or they actually thought about that during production is absolutely amazing. That Matt Reeves just loves this franchise so much that he was able to throw that little Easter egg in there. And it's almost just like a straight up fuck you to Marvel. Be like, it's just like, wait, hold my beer on the post credit sequences. Matt Reeves is going to be we actually have to do work for post credit sequences instead of Marvel just gives it to us. So, but I don't know. I just thought that was probably one of the coolest riddles in the entire film. So,
yeah, it's one thing I'll say real quick. The Batmobile is fucking wonderful. I don't know why people are complaining about it. Again, year 2 Batman, fuckers. Okay, he doesn't have everything at his disposal yet. So people going why isn't the Batcave bigger? It's oh, I'm sorry. Are you actually happy you get to see the Batcave? Unlike in Nolan films, it's actually being fucking developed. It makes sense practically for the story they're telling, and the whole gear shift aspect of Batman having because the Batmobile looks like it's definitely put together from multiple different pieces and everything, which is good because when we get to a sequel, because we're clearly getting one, the Batmobile will look more, better, will be better defined, which it should be. But the way the suit looks is fucking awesome. There's this moment where he presses on his chest and makes into a knife and cuts through this thing where I was that's actually really fucking clever. It's a really quick thing, but it's oh, okay, yeah, I like this.
Yeah, it's
practical.
every part of his suit serves a practical purpose that is used in the film.
Yeah. People were talking about the things on his wrist, what are those for? I think those are just the grappling hooks. I think those are just replaceable grappling hooks. Because people
That's
talking
what
about
I thought.
People talking about he didn't use the things on his wrist. I was I think, and people are well, I think those are just the grappling hooks, in order to replace them.
It holds the line for the grappling hooks, and it's also armor because he uses baseball bats that are coming at him and shit.
Yeah. And I think Pattinson. I mean, whether he's my favorite live action Batman, I don't know. I mean, I think it's just different. I mean, it's okay. I don't think necessarily something new has to be better. It's just different, and the way he's playing Batman, Bruce Wayne, is different than the way other people have played Batman, Bruce Wayne. You know what I mean? And it's, like I said, very kind of, like you said, emo type of attempt. And when he goes to the funeral and then, just little subtle things he does, when he sees the cameras and people calling his name, he winces and forces a smile and, puts his head down and kind of looks away. Little things like that I think are very good in it, and very good from his performance. And then how even the way he looks, you know what I mean? It's kind of he's not gaunt, but he's still a guy who does, like he says, this nocturnal animal and very depraved, of sleep, but also kind of has this, kind of very skinny kind of look to him, you know what I mean, as well, which I thought was very interesting.
It looks like he's lost a lot of sleep. It was like Kristen Stewart cheated on him again. It was
Yeah, and so I thought that was really good and everything like that. So high tune-ins from everybody, right? High tune-ins.
Yep, damn straight. Highest tune-in humanly possible.
The highest tune-in possible.
Yeah. Dusk, high tune-in from you?
Like I said, it's a tune-in.
Tune-in? Okay, so you just said a tune-in.
It's a solid. No, it's a tune-in.
Tune-in. Yeah, I think I'd about add a tune-in as well. For me, just say kind of tune in there. In this movie, so you have kind of the ending here. Gotham is flooded. We're going to be getting into a little what you would all want from the sequel. What do you think sequel plans here? Gotham's flooded. Things are being rebuilt. Catwoman, she left. They did the whole thing where they diverged. On the motorcycles. He still got to get that look back at that ass before he leaves. Still got to go.
Oh, absolutely. Did you see that ass? I'd be looking back.
Still on the rearview mirror there. Still doing that. So I'm gonna go around, kind of guys, what you would want in a sequel, and what you all think is gonna happen next. Nick, what kind of your thoughts there for the sequel? What do you kind of want?
Well, I think the way the film ends, because we get a little bit of shots of Paul Dano in Arkham, and we get hints of another fucking Joker. even though I like the actor that they cast for it, it's
I'm a
Barry
huge fan of the
Keoghan
actor.
from
Yeah.
Killing a Sacred Deer, and he's a guy that just looks creepy, and I think he's a great choice for the Joker. I kind of want them to just keep him in the back pocket for now. And the second movie, it is
Agreed.
just dealing the fallout of everything that the Riddler did, of this new power vacuum that's in the underworld, and you get villains like Black Mask and the crime war with him and the Penguin brought more into focus, and bringing villains like Hugo Strange, keep it somewhat grounded.
Yeah, with a touch of
'cause,
Hush as a setup.
Mhm. Yeah, and you also and there's also so that GCPD show that Reeves was working on with Terrence Winter, and it kind of devolved into, hey, this is an Arkham show now, and it's a horror show that's set in Arkham Asylum.
Yeah.
And see a lot of what spins off from there. I would like to maybe go a little bit more in the supernatural realm with Pattinson's Batman, because this film is very grounded, but also there is elements that you could spin off.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Instead of the Joker, he could maybe be the creep. That might
He's
be
the,
interesting.
he's
Watch
the,
him.
he's the,
Watch,
he's the Joker.
watch all of this hype just for Barry Keoghan to be Callan.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, that would be hilarious.
I mean, yeah, Matt Reeves already said, yeah, it's the Joker. I mean, he already said it. Already.
Yeah, come on, yeah.
He already said, yeah, it's the Joker already. So for you, so you said you would want the villain to be someone like more Hush and kind of things like that, and then okay, so all right, so
yeah, keep it grounded, but drop hints of fantasy with stuff like the Court of Owls.
So
because I think Reeves said he wanted to do Mr. Freeze, and he's a huge part of the Court.
okay.
Yeah.
So with it, so would you want? So now that people are like, okay, people are always wanting a detective style Batman movie. Do you want to see continue with more detective style, or would you want to? Do you think it's going to gear more towards action, or do you just still want very much detective Batman? What would you kind of?
No, keep the detective aspect. That's something that is a criminally underutilized part of Batman's character, all of his live action adaptations. And it's something that was so refreshing about this film.
Yeah, agreed.
Marley, what kind of sequel thoughts there, man?
I don't really ponder a lot of thoughts on like sequels. I just kind of like I wait for the movie to come out and just kind of like take it in when it's out. But I basically echo everything that you said, Nick, about just kind of continuing like this kind of style. But if I were to have like one critique a little bit about the Batman that I wish the sequel would improve on is like I love the fact that it's so dark and gritty and grounded. But what I love most about like Batman movies and just Batman in general is about how lighthearted they are and just kind of like how goofy they are. I don't want it to go full like kind of wink and nod and just kind of like joking around. I just wanted to touch on it just like a little bit, like just sprinkle a little bit of like just like the old Batman like in there, but still keep like that same style. Just because like this first film, it was dark, it was rough and like in some parts. So I kind of need like a little bit of like those just like the lightheartedness, just a little bit, just to kind of get me through, especially if it's going to be 3 hours long. Like still,
you got Penguin waddling around for a little bit. That'd make you laugh.
Oh, I laugh.
Hey, what are you showing me? Come on!
Yeah. Yeah.
You didn't like the thumb drive joke?
Oh, I thought that was fucking great. I was like,
it was hilarious. It's
good.
like this movie.
It's kind of like a dad
very
joke.
Grim. It's very grim. It's very dark, but it's not humorless. It's like natural, organic humor that comes in the situation. It's not like, even though I love Marvel, it's not the way they use levity in their films, where they literally stop the movie to have a joke.
Yeah, and like the thing is though, like you can have and that is one of the things I've been telling DC fans. I'm like, God fucking damn it, listen to me. It's like you can have humor in a dark film, and it does add to the levity, because it's a dark fucking movie, but you get those moments like, oh, the thumb drive joke, and Gordon going, oh, I thought you could have pulled your punch. I did. Like those are funny actual moments. It's like you can have more of that in the sequel and still keep it dark. But yeah, the humor that's in here works really well. All the intended jokes, I went, oh wow, that's actually funny, and I laughed at points where I was like, I probably shouldn't be laughing at this, but the Riddler's making me really uncomfortable, and it takes a lot to make me feel uncomfortable. And I was like, I kind of want you to go away right now. Like, can you please like just leave for like 5 minutes? Like, yeah.
The one part where I did laugh, like almost out loud in the theater, is the fact that this film, like, I know it's PG-13 and this is what Matt Reeves was going for, but there's a scene where just Batman is just going to town and he's just beating like the living crap out of this guy, and I'm like, this guy would be bleeding. He would be bleeding like profuse, like just everywhere, and there's just not an ounce of blood just anywhere, and I'm just like,
it's not Snyder.
Whatever. It's a PG-13 movie.
It's not Snyder hitting Batman hitting people with his car and breaking their necks on crates and shit. Like,
or Superman
it's not
to cut off a horn.
Yeah, like I can look past that.
It's not fucking Batman listening to Ghetto Boys just screaming, "Die, motherfucker! Die, motherfucker!"
Yeah,
die.
right. Yeah, I will say though, Paul Dano, like, man, like I thought I hated him in 12 Years. I thought he scared me in 12 Years a Slave. I was like, God damn, this guy's just really, he's really great at playing a piece of shit, which is the biggest compliment I can give him. Because the more you see of the Riddler, you're like, you're just really terrible. Like, just all around, you kind of suck.
But like, add one more thing on to Paul Dano's performance is, I also love that, like, this is kind of the Riddler's year 2 as well. Like, he's still getting used to like being like a villain.
Yes,
and what I love most,
and that's a direct line between the Batman and the Riddler in this film, because you have that incredible interrogation scene where that incredible conversation is like, "Hey, you inspired me, man." It's like, oh, and you get Pattinson saying, "I may have fucked up."
Yeah, and it's one of those moments where you kind of go,
and you have that incredible scene after, he beat the shit out of said goon, and the cops ask him, he was like, "I'm vengeance." It was like, ooh.
Yeah, it's the thing so the one influence I think above all that no one's really brought up, this is straight up like the Batman Telltale game if you made it into a movie. Like, especially the detective aspect. Like, they draw heavily from the Telltale stuff, and I was like,
Telltale drew heavily from the comics.
Oh, absolutely. But like, I mean, as far as like, because even before like the Court of Owls stuff was really gaining traction, that's one of the few mediums that's really dove into like how problematic his like parents actually were, especially tying to the Arkham stuff. It's like, oh, they kind of lifted that. Like even from the pacing, even with the Penguin being like how their relationship kind of evolved, it's like, oh, you're drawing a lot from this. And so I was actually really, even from how the suit looks, actually, I was like, oh, this is like, I'm pleasantly happy with this, but right on, like, more of this. So it's one of those things where, like, I've been telling people, like, if you haven't played those games, like those 2 seasons, you should. But it's one of those things where I went, wow, like, they drew from 7 or 8 different, Batman stories before they even got to, stuff like Seven, and Zodiac. And you're like, oh, so it's like really like a really big mishmash of multiple different influences. And at the end of the day, it makes a great Batman film.
Yeah.
I think with the whole parents thing, I think they've done just enough that I don't really need them to go like, oh, and the Waynes and Arkhams were even worse than you. Like, no, it's fine. It's fine. We do just enough where it's there's some aspects about his parents that they didn't really go. But at the end of the day, his father was a good person who tried to do the best he could, but he makes mistakes because people make mistakes. Like, if they go like even more, like, oh, they're even more problematic, and it's just like, oh, all right, fine.
I think you can go more into that and definitely use the Court of Owls to offset it and have Bruce have that true like identity crisis as far as like what his Batman means. Because to Nick's point, it definitely hints at the fact that, you know, hey, you being Batman is empowering these villains to go, oh, I can go ahead and step up. And it's like, well, at what point are you doing?
Being bad lunatics like the Riddler, like the Joker that they imply in this universe.
Yeah, like it's like, you know, when are you doing more harm than good? And that's a question you can carry through as long as you really fucking want. But as far as a sequel, yes, Court of Owls, please, please, please give me that. But I'd like to see Zaz done well on screen. Like that would be like that just kind of seems like a layup.
He was done in the Christopher Nolan movies.
Yeah.
He was name dropped in the Christopher Nolan movie.
He was done in the same way that Robin was done in the Christopher Nolan movies. So it's like, so, but give me like.
But he's done better than Robin was in the Zack Snyder movies.
I mean, that's true. You know, he's not in just a case, but like give me Mad Hatter. Fucking go there. Like you have like a fucked up Mad Hatter would be easy to do. Like I would love to see that, but with the especially with the Arkham show or the GCPD show, you know, evolving to an Arkham show, Hugo Strange is right there. Like that feels like it's just a very easy like we can introduce him here and kind of set him up to be, you know, kind of one of the main pieces moving forward. But for fuck's sake, can we not get the Joker in a sequel? Like seriously, like if you're like to Nick's point, keep that shit in your back pocket. You don't need to pull that card, pun intended. Now you can go ahead and wait on that shit. Like give me other
many versions of the Joker. We can wait.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like,
Batman has one of the biggest rogues galleries next to someone like Spider-Man, and yet we've only seen like the same like 3 or 4 villains.
Yeah. Let people have their Hush. Let people have their Zaz. Let people have their Black Mask. Let people have like Hugo Strange. People that can still be somewhat grounded before you get to fantastical. Because once you get to the Joker level, that's when it goes you're going into a different league, a different territory. You get into way different stuff.
And you can do it with guys that dance that line, like
between the supernatural
like
and realism.
Like
you can ride that line.
Yeah, like the Court of Owls, like the League of Assassins with someone like Ra's al Ghul.
I made a video kind of a little bit like what it was in a joking manner, but not really. But I guess what I want for a sequel for the Batman is we should just reunite everyone from the Twilight universe. Just Kristen Stewart as Poison Ivy, Robin, Taylor Lautner. No. Taylor Lautner as Robin. And just reunite.
Oh, God.
Just bring that universe.
Someone that can act.
Yeah, I mean Anna Kendrick as Poison Ivy, that'd be pretty cool. And then you could cast Ashley Greene as Harley, and then I'll stop my fan fiction there because I was about to go down the road. But yeah, like do that.
To be honest, Kristen Stewart as Poison Ivy, I think she would do a really great job. Like she's already a great actress already, and I would love to see just like her on screen with Robert Pattinson, I actually think she'd make a great punchline. Actually, I think Stewart can nail that character. Actually, so yeah, do that shit. Yeah. I mean, you know, yeah. And then you can have them hook up again. She's riding high off Spencer, so she's probably gonna get the Oscar like this coming Sunday or next Sunday actually. Yeah.
Oh, next Sunday.
Sunday.
Oh, we'll see.
Next Sunday. Hey, come on, you think the royal family is gonna let that happen?
Yeah, there's gonna be a red dot on her head as soon as she walks into the stadium. Like, oh, what's that?
So with the sequel here, so you know. I think what they do, with Batman 2, I think Court of Owls is obviously a big thing that a lot of people said, and then, continue with more with the corruption of Gotham, and then more now that the city, rebuilding it, power vacuum, they mentioned that in this movie, of that it's going to be, Selena mentioned it's going to be a war for the city. So that's when you would bring in a lot of the gangster characters, people maybe like Scarface, or you'd bring in Black Mask, or you would bring in
If they have the balls to do Scarface, that would be fucking incredible.
Yeah,
Like,
I think that'd be really great. I think
do that shit.
That would be super tragic already, and like, oh, I'm gonna try to do some good, and maybe we've been friends for a while. I'm trying to help you out. Bam, tragedy happens, and now I'm a fucking Two-Face.
So like we're clearly getting Harvey Dent too. I think we're setting up setting up that thread. What I want, do Man Bat. Have the balls to do Man Bat.
They will never have the balls to do Man Bat.
I want them to do Man Bat because that animated series episode is fucking horrifying. And the jump scare in Arkham City is one of the best jump scares in any video game. Like,
it's incredible.
Like, have the balls. Give me Man Bat. Get fucking Matthew McConaughey. He kind of looks like the guy. Have him. Like, you don't have to have the bat talk.
Well, Sam Raimi, he did say he'd love to do a Batman movie. So I think if he directs a Batman movie, I think Man Bat would be a perfect villain for
up his alley.
Yeah, it would be a perfect villain for there. I think that who was the actor? What's his name? The one that played Arnim Zola. What's his name?
Toby
Jones.
I think he'd make a good Scarface. I think Toby Jones would make a good Scarface there.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then if they do kind of Black Mask, I mean, we've had multiple. I mean, we got multiple Batmans and multiple Jokers. You could bring in another Black Mask there.
You know what would make a great Scarface? Seal. No. Too mean? No. Okay.
I mean, yeah, you all gotta do is just put on like a seal mask, basically, like how you put on one of those Dennis Rodman masks, like pull it down and basically there,
So a seal walks into a club.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm rounding them off tonight. Let's.
I'd love to see Harvey Dent in one of these movies, especially if you get an actor like a John Bernthal to play Harvey Dent.
Dude, John Hamm.
Oh,
John Hamm. Yes. John Hamm as Harvey Dent would kill that shit.
Oh yeah, he
looks good. He looks good. He looks good in his suit, does he? I mean, like he'd be great.
Yeah, that would be John Hamm.
We did 7 seasons of it on Mad Men.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I mean, he's basically playing Harvey Dent, but like more sexist, like. Or less sexist, maybe. Like,
probably less sexist. Yeah, way less sexist.
Slightly.
Yeah, John Hamm would be good. Handsome DA comes into town, tries to help, and then gets horribly disfigured. Yeah, that would really work. Yeah, really, really well.
Yeah, I think he'd be good with that.
So I think that'd be good. Him coming in there, Harvey Dent would be good for the sequel, and then as well as I don't think Selena. I think you keep her out for the sequel, you know what I mean? Even though I do love Zoe Kravitz, I think, just have her let her off for the sequel and then maybe come back for the third movie.
She could get her own show by the time, like, this posts, honestly, because the response to her has been so overwhelmingly positive. DC might just go, fuck it, like, give her a show. Like,
yeah. I would love that. I'd love to watch a show with Catwoman in there as well. And then I think one of the main villains of kind of the next Batman movie, and like to Nick's point, it's like Batman's kind of like treated like kind of Superman, where it's kind of like when you do a Superman, it's either Zod or Lex Luthor. You know what I mean? You kind of get either of those villains when you do kind of a Superman property, and Batman, you kind of get Joker, you kind of get kind of the same kind of rotating villains.
Yeah, I want to see like Parasite. I want to see some other Superman villains.
Yeah, Metallo.
Yeah, Parasite, Brainiac, Metallo.
Exactly.
Yeah. This, I mean, in the next Batman movie, I think, if you're trying to, do more kind of thing, Calendar Man, I think, would be kind of maybe a good thing if you do him.
He'd be a great villain for Gotham, like the Gotham TV show. Just right.
Yeah, him or Zaz would probably be good for the TV show as well. I think lower level people like that will be good. Or maybe Kite Man. Bring in Kite Man for the Gotham TV show.
Hell yeah!
You know what I mean? Have him kind of come in. He's getting his own nice animated spinoff from the Harley Quinn show, so good for him.
Hell yeah, he is. Good for him.
So it's tough to see who would be the main villain of the next movie, of who they would kind of face off against, or who you go there. Maybe
it would have to be something personal.
Yeah, maybe you do Mr. Freeze, maybe, and you do that. I'd love to see how you would do with that. and see how that would kind of get introduced.
Azrael would be interesting.
Azrael's too soon, though.
No, he is
Azrael's
too
way
soon.
too soon.
No, he is too soon. But you could easily set that thread up.
Sure.
Because I don't think they stop with 3 of these, to be honest. Because like just hearing Pattinson talk, like I think they do 4 of these easy.
4.
Like, easily. I think they easily do 4 because I could see them going into like, I'm gonna call that shit right now. I think they're gonna get as close to a Dark Knight Returns in live action as they possibly can with Pattinson, because I think Pattinson is game for that shit.
Wow.
He's game for more money, certainly.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like Good Time only pays so much. You can only fart in lighthouses so much.
Yeah.
But
the good times that the lighthouse is like the lost city of Z's, they only pay so much.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, hey, money. You have to get money for the water fills elephants. Okay, like you gotta.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he doesn't keep doing these, how are people gonna remember me?
Yeah. God damn it, that was good. And damn you.
And the stream. And the stream. No, I was kidding.
But speaking of, if like the murder of the Wayne family was like 2001, still not the worst thing to happen to a Robert Pattinson character in 2001.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And with the whole thing with this Batman, I don't really need to see him interact with any other heroes. I don't need to see any. I don't think any crossover with
it's fine.
I don't think so. I don't think I need to see him with a Superman or anything like that. I think he's perfectly fine off on his own thing, I think. What do you guys got?
You could do Robin, but it would have to be Jason Todd and just show the horrible idea that is child into like this life of crime fighting.
I don't know if I want Jason Todd though. I don't want them to crowbar him in.
Fuck you.
So generally, kind of around the board, any kind of final thoughts on Batman there? Any kind of final thoughts on anything?
DC, keep doing this, please, for the love of God. Like this, don't let Reeves do what he wants. Just leave him alone. Hands off. Just let him. My partner does not like Batman at all, and she loves this fucking movie. So just like leave him to his own devices. It'll be fine.
And
That's
keep
it.
Zack Snyder away.
Yeah.
He had his chance. He had multiple chances.
Yeah. Just.
He had 4 hours. 4 hours.
Could you imagine if he made this movie? Selena Kyle would have gotten raped in like every other scene. Like he's and then got the lobotomy at the very end, and like Catwoman.
You know what? He's the kind.
It's empowering.
Well, hey, he follows the principle of Frank Miller, which is I make women empowered by turning them into whores.
Yeah, that's a big Frank Miller
works, right?
They're either whores or they're stupid, like fucking Army of the Dead,
or both.
Or stupid whores.
No. Anybody else got any final thoughts on the Batman? Anything you'd love to say?
More of this, Warner Brothers. More of this. Mm-hmm. Leave Matt Reeves alone to his own devices making, because I absolutely love this film. It's probably going to end up in my best of the year once we come around to it.
Oh yeah,
and it's as it stands, it's probably like 2 or 3 of my favorite live action superheroes.
Damn. Okay. I would have to sit down and think about my favorite, because there's a lot of superhero shit that I just adore.
Yeah.
This is okay. This is
No Way Home.
I'm happy you brought up No Way Home, because I love No Way Home, but this made me feel the exact same way, but in a different way, where it's like, this is what happens when you leave a director alone and let them handle this shit. Because Reeves clearly understood, to quote the young kids, he understood the assignment of, I need to make a dark Batman who's still figuring his shit out, but actually make it a personal story to him to justify said vengeance. And you're just like, okay. And the fight scenes in like the fact that you can see what's fucking happening, because that's always been a gripe of mine with live action Batman fight scenes. It's like they cut away so quick, kind of Bourne style, but like shitty Bourne style. Like, yeah. But like the way Pattinson moves, like there's a point he throws a pipe at this dude and hits him in the face. I was like, God damn!
he just yeets a bat at somebody.
Yeah, and it was wonderful when he's tasing that dude. Don't tase me, bro. Like the look on his face when he's doing that, I was like, oh man, this is like, yes, this is good, DC. Keep this shit up. So
it's that probably that moment in particular is the perfect encapsulation of you can see in the exact moment of like how he has to pull every fiber of his being not to kill him.
Yes.
Like in the exact moment, at 1 second longer, and this guy is legit dead, and he just yanks his arm down.
Yeah.
Because it's like that's how much, because he's not there yet. He's still too angry to get it, but he hasn't yet crossed that line. And then he decides by the end of this movie, hey, maybe I shouldn't like be like all anger and shit. Maybe
Batman clearly has a murder boner through like most of this movie, because
he treats every fight like they're the people who killed his parents.
Yeah, because he's right around the corner from killing everyone in this movie, and you're like, fuck, you're in year 2. What happens when you get like sharp batarangs and shit? It's like, oh, this is gonna be way worse. But he doesn't throw batarangs, does he?
It's like
he doesn't, right?
No, he doesn't.
Not one.
No, he pretty much just uses like his fist in the grappling hook.
He uses the batarang only once, and it's on his chest.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, when he cuts that's like it. But I like that because it kind of reminds me of Skyfall, where it's like, okay, we can't give you all these gadgets from jump because that would be fucking stupid. So, like, you have these 2 things. Like, you're going through the tutorial of Arkham Origins. You don't have all the fun shit yet. So, you know, next movie, he'll probably, like, I'm sure we'll see the batarang.
They totally Metroided the Batman.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. That's a really good comparison, actually. Yeah.
It's like, damn it, just give me the arm cannon. Just give me the arm cannon. No.
I think in the sequel he needs to definitely learn to be a better ninja here. I think he's taking too many gunshot blasts to the chest here. I think, you know what I mean? Try to be a little bit more stealthy. I don't know.
Oh no, I agree, but that's also something you do when you're young and stupid, because you're just like, oh yeah, I can handle this shit. But it's like, you shouldn't be getting shot point blank range in the chest, you fucking moron. You might wanna drop a smoke bomb every now and then.
It's weird because he does say like several times like in this movie that he likes being in the shadows because he's a bat. But the thing that always kind of, it was in the back of my mind, like he's just like during the detective scenes, like the CSI, he's just like there, just standing in the background. And the fact that all these cops don't know that this guy is Bruce Wayne is kind of insane. It's like this dude's standing in a fucking bat suit, just like at the crime scene. It's just like it's like he's not in the shadows, he's just right there. It's just like,
but dude, people buy the Superman shit with glasses, so it's like,
well,
you know, like,
also in that moment. In that
it's
moment,
even worse.
I know. So it's like, you're gonna give this movie shit, but it's like Clark flies in. It's like, oh, these glasses. Wait, who are you?
But also in that moment, especially like the moment where like the car comes in, they're all just in a panic, and one very powerful civilian being there, like that's fine. Like they escorted, I'm sure off screen escorted his butt outside. But in that moment, it's just kind of like, oh shit, we need the bomb squad. And so I can just let that kind of pass, where they're all petrified. You could just assume people do strange things when they're terrified. They just freeze up like a light. So I completely believe that as it was for Batman. He's just staring at it. And you're like, I don't know.
That scene too of the whole casket trap, that whole riddle trap, is one of the more horrifying things I've seen in about a year, where I'm just like, dude, you better answer these fucking questions and shut the fuck up. Like, this is like So when he goes kablooey, I was like, oh shit, okay. And much like an asshole cop, they're just like, oh, he's unconscious. Let's take his mask off. I'm like, oh yeah, I would have flipped up and like, motherfucker,
Yeah.
What are you doing too? Like,
and then you know, as you would, he responds in the correct option of, I'm going to protect my identity, so I'm going to kill everyone in this room who tries to touch it. You're like, oh, you're just a room full of cops. Hey,
Yeah, it's like,
worse.
I now got you for assaulting an officer. You got me for assaulting me.
I love how the cops were like, what did we do? It's like, you know good and goddamn well what you did.
Also,
But-
let's also be honest that like that the whole thing went south. Like you didn't have crap until he showed up. So let's not pretend that you were even charged in that situation. And secondarily, I like the fact that he offers riddles as like a chance, like a bit of Saw, where it's like, hey man, all you have to do is just say what I'm asking you to say. I probably won't blow you up. Probably 50-50. I still might, but you know, I probably won't. But I know you're not going to do it. The whole thing is he's playing mind games. He knows they're in so deep that it's basically he's giving him an option he's not going to pick.
which is like more horrifying when you think about it.
He's like, I know you're not going to do this, but I'm giving you this opportunity, just like you gave us an opportunity that wasn't real.
Because if that was Luke Fox Batman, oh yeah, they would have unmasked his black ass so quick and been like, oh shit, well let's arrest him now. But Bruce luckily
No, they would have just shot him.
You're not wrong. Like he had a gun. but yeah, what like this is out in what, April? On HBO Max? I think
April 19th.
April 19th, HBO Max.
HBO Max.
I would greatly forward to rewatching this.
Yeah.